right, so today we're gonna dive into something that I think is really interesting, and I think kind of a game changer for sales and revenue leaders,
Oh, absolutely.
and that is speech analytics. And I'm joined today with Nova.
Hello, everyone.
Um, Nova, maybe you can give everyone just like the quick, like, what is speech analytics for those who don't know?
Yeah, so in a nutshell, speech analytics is really using AI to analyze all of those customer conversations that you're having.
Right.
And you're already recording these calls, right? So it's really about getting deeper insights and value from them.
Yeah, and we were looking at some stats from McKinsey, and they're saying that companies are seeing some pretty huge improvements, like 20 to 30% savings in operational costs,
Wow.
over 10% improvement in customer satisfaction,
Yeah, that's big.
which leads to, of course, those increased sales figures that we all want.
Absolutely.
So, for me, it was kind of like thinking back in the day, I was a sales rep, and it was like, all I had was like my notes from the call, and it was like, did they sound interested or not interested?
Right, right. Were they
You-
smiling on the phone? Could you tell?
Right, exactly. And it was like super subjective, and like, how do you coach based off of that? It's like, I
Exactly.
don't know, maybe gut feeling, but it wasn't really data driven. And that's where I think this is so interesting.
And that's what I love about it. It takes all of that guesswork out of it. You're no longer relying on, those gut feelings or assumptions.
Yeah.
You're really getting, data-backed insights into what your customers are actually saying and needing.
Yeah, well, and so what's an example then? Like, how does this actually work in practice?
Yeah, so, a good example is a tool like Meet Record, which we've talked about before.
Right.
And they can actually analyze sentiment. So they can pinpoint, specific keywords or phrases that might indicate, hesitation, maybe doubt or frustration.
Oh, interesting.
And this is so helpful for sales teams because they can adjust their approach like in real time.
Like they can course correct right in the middle of the conversation if they hear that.
Yeah, if they're sensing that the customer is, maybe getting frustrated with something, they can address it right then and there.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So, like, what is the tech behind that? Like,
Mhm.
how does it actually know what sentiment is?
Yeah, so there are a few key components. One is natural language processing or NLP.
Okay.
And that's what allows the system to actually understand the meaning of the words that are being spoken.
Okay.
You also have emotion detection, which analyzes the tone of voice.
Mm.
Are they speaking quickly or slowly?
Yeah.
Are they using, a higher pitch or lower pitch? And then you have keyword spotting,
Okay.
which is, really tracking those specific terms that are relevant to your business.
So if they say like competitor or something like that.
Exactly, yeah, or pricing or budget, whatever keywords are important to you.
Got it. So it's picking all that stuff up.
Exactly.
So like take me through the steps then. Like if I'm recording a call, like how does it go from recording to like insights?
Yeah, so it's a pretty straightforward process. The first step is, transcription.
Yeah.
So the audio gets converted into text, and then that text is analyzed for those specific keywords that we were talking about.
Okay.
Then you have the sentiment analysis piece, which is, where it really starts to get interesting.
Okay.
It's not just identifying the words, but it's understanding the meaning and the emotion behind those words in context.
Got it.
And then finally, you have the actionable insight. So it's not just data. It's like, what do you do with this data? What are the recommendations?
Okay. So it's actually giving you like, you should do this, you should try that.
Exactly. Yeah. It's giving you those concrete steps that you can take to improve.
And it's all based on AI, right?
Yeah. The advancements in AI have just been incredible, and it's really transformed speech analytics.
It's not just like transcribing anymore. It's like,
Yeah, no, it's so much more than that. It's faster, it's more accurate,
yeah.
and it's really about those action-oriented insights.
So it's actually usable.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let's talk about I guess, what are the benefits of all of this? Like, why should sales and revenue leaders care?
Yeah, so, first and foremost, you get just so much better customer insights.
Yeah.
Often what a customer says on a call, it's really just the tip of the iceberg. There's
Yeah.
so much more going on beneath the surface, and speech analytics helps you unearth all of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like the iceberg analogy, right?
Exactly. And so instead of, just relying on assumptions or, those gut feelings you were talking about,
Right.
you're actually getting data to back up your understanding of customer behavior.
So you know what they're thinking, even if they don't explicitly say it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, let's say, for example, a customer keeps using phrases like, I'm not sure if this will integrate with.
Oh yeah.
That might indicate that they're concerned about system compatibility, even if they don't directly ask about it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So it's those little cues that can really give you a lot of insight.
It's like reading between the lines. but like AI is doing it for you.
Exactly.
So we get better customer insights.
Well, that leads to improved sales performance.
Yeah, okay.
Now every sales conversation becomes a learning opportunity. You can analyze all of your successful calls and really pinpoint what's working.
Yeah, like what are those magic words?
Exactly, yeah. What are the strategies, the specific language, the approach, what's leading to those closed deals?
That's super cool.
Yeah, and then you can replicate those winning formulas across your team.
Oh, I like that. Replicate winning formula.
Yeah. So imagine you discover that your top performers always address a certain objection in a particular way.
Yeah.
Well, now you can train everyone on that technique.
So you're not just hoping that your sales reps like figure it out on their own. You're like,
Exactly.
here's the playbook.
Here's the data. Here's what works.
Do this.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, so we get better customer insights. We improve sales performance.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, this one I think is huge. It's personalized sales coaching.
Okay, this is the coaching piece we were talking about earlier.
Exactly. Yeah.
Where it's like gut feeling before. Now it's data.
Now you have data to back it up.
Okay.
So, tools like MeetRecord, they can actually categorize the emotional tone of a call.
Oh, wow.
Like, is it positive? Is it neutral? Is it negative?
So it can like read the room, but on a sales call?
Pretty much. Yeah.
That's wild.
So let's say you notice that one of your reps is consistently having calls with, a high negative sentiment.
Oh, red flag.
Yeah, that's a red flag.
Okay.
Maybe they're not listening effectively or they're struggling to address customer concerns.
Right.
And this data allows you to provide very specific coaching, focused on those areas for improvement.
So instead of just being like, hey,
Yeah.
I feel like you could be doing better on your calls, it's like
Right.
when the customer said, this is where it went south.
Exactly.
Let's fix that.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's much more targeted and effective.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, so let's talk about something that I think every salesperson struggles with, and that is, those moments of doubt or hesitation from a prospect.
Oh, yeah, those are tough.
Like you can just feel it in the call sometimes, right?
Absolutely.
How does speech analytics like help us identify those moments, maybe even before we pick up on them ourselves?
Yeah, well, it's all about those subtle cues.
Right.
Things that we might miss as humans, but AI can pick up on.
Okay.
So, it could be filler words like, or
Yeah.
it could be frequent pauses or, phrases that kind of express doubt, like I'm not entirely sure, or I'd have to double check.
Yeah.
And the real-time sentiment analysis can flag these indicators as they're happening.
Wow.
So the salesperson can address those concerns proactively.
So they're like, oh, I see you're hesitant about this. Let me dive in a little deeper there.
Exactly, yeah. And it can really prevent those concerns from escalating into bigger issues.
I like it. You had mentioned earlier some examples from the source material that we were looking at.
Right.
About Sarah and Catherine.
Yes.
Could you remind us of those and how that ties into this?
Yeah, so Sarah, she was on a call and she kept bringing up concerns about CRM inefficiencies and data accuracy.
Oh, yeah.
And so even though she didn't come right out and say our CRM is a mess,
Right.
that pattern of phrases really indicates that data management is a big pain point for her.
It's like she's dancing around it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. And then we had Catherine,
Wow.
who was complaining about not being able to track call performance.
Okay.
And so that, immediately highlights the need for a solution that offers, conversation analytics that integrates with her CRM.
Yeah.
So again, it's those little hints that can reveal a lot.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's reading between the lines and like figuring out what the real need is.
Exactly.
Okay, so then let's talk about objections because like that's sales, right? Dealing with objections.
Oh, this is
Can speech analytics like tell us how to handle every objection?
Well, I wish it were that easy. It's not going to give you a script for every possible objection.
Okay.
But what it can do is identify the common objections that your team is facing. By analyzing, tons of calls,
Yeah.
you'll start to see patterns in the concerns that prospects are bringing up over and over again.
Okay, so like price is too high or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Or, maybe it's the length of the contract or the implementation timeline, whatever it might be.
Got it.
And once you've identified those common objections,
Yeah. What do we do?
well, that's where you can really refine your sales approach.
All right.
You can document those recurring objections
Yeah.
and then update your sales scripts and your training materials to address those objections head on.
Oh, I like that. Be proactive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, for example, if you're hearing a lot of concerns about the complexity of the setup or, the trial period being too short,
Yeah.
you can tailor your pitch to proactively address those points right up front.
So you're getting ahead of it.
Exactly. Yeah, and that
Yeah.
will boost your team's confidence and hopefully improve those conversion rates.
So it's like turning those objections into opportunities to get better.
Exactly.
I like that. Um, okay, so it's not all doom and gloom, right? We're not just talking about objections.
No, of course not.
There's also those like really positive moments on sales calls too.
Absolutely.
Um, how does speech analytics help us identify and like use those to our advantage?
Yeah, so it's not just about identifying negative sentiment.
Okay.
It's also about recognizing when a customer is genuinely engaged and excited.
Oh, yeah.
Those aha
Right, it's
moments.
all those.
Yeah, you can tell that the customer is like really interested. And this is where tools like Meet Record are so helpful because they can actually categorize those emotions.
Oh, wow.
Is it positive, neutral, negative?
Okay.
And they can even highlight those specific moments where the customer is expressing, real enthusiasm.
And what's the benefit of knowing that? Like, why do I care if they were excited at minute 12 of the call?
Yeah. Well, it gives your salespeople a much better understanding of what aspects of the product or the pitch are really resonating.
Oh, well.
They can see what's working and then tailor their strategy to align even more closely with those customer expectations.
So it's like you're riding that wave of excitement.
Exactly. Yeah. If a customer gets really excited about a certain feature and starts asking a bunch of questions,
Yeah.
that's a clear signal to focus on that area and, guide the conversation towards closing the deal.
I love it. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about follow-ups.
Yes.
They can often feel so generic.
Oh, I know.
Like just checking in, wanted to see if you had any questions,
Oh, yeah. The dreaded follow-up.
Right,
Like,
exactly. How does speech analytics help us make those follow-ups more meaningful and actually effective?
Yeah. So, generic follow-ups, they just don't work because they lack context.
They're not personalized at all.
Exactly. And so speech analytics allows you to tailor your follow-ups based on the sentiment and the intent that was expressed on the call. So if a call ends on a really positive note, maybe there were clear buying signals,
Yeah.
then you want to follow up right away, keep that momentum going.
Strike while the iron's hot.
Exactly.
Right.
But then let's say a call was a little bit more, negative.
Yep.
Maybe the customer had some concerns.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, your follow-up can be a lot more targeted.
Okay.
You can address those specific hesitations that they brought up.
So it shows that you're listening.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It shows that you were paying attention and you're genuinely trying to find a solution for them.
I love it.
And, Meet Record actually has this really cool feature where they use AI to generate follow-up emails
Oh, wow.
that take into account the context of the call and the customer sentiment.
So it's like writing the email for you.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so Novus, for all of the sales and revenue leaders who are listening today, like, what are the key takeaways from all of this? What should they be thinking about?
Yeah. So, I think the biggest thing is just that speech analytics can give you such a deeper understanding of your customers.
Yeah.
And it's not just, some fluffy feel-good stuff. It's actual data.
Right, data-driven.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that data can then be used to improve your team's performance, through targeted coaching,
Right.
through, refining your strategies. And ultimately, it leads to more effective sales and more revenue.
Yeah, you're not just guessing anymore. You actually know what's working, what's not.
Exactly.
Love it. So any like immediate actions that people could take?
Yeah. I mean, I would encourage everyone to, just think about all of those past sales calls that you've had
Yeah.
and what kind of insights could you glean from those? What patterns might emerge?
Yeah.
Also, think about how objective data from your calls could really transform your coaching efforts.
Yeah.
It's not about, being subjective or, having those gut feelings anymore. It's about having real concrete data to work with. And then finally, think about how identifying those positive moments in your calls could really help you close more deals.
Yeah. You know it's working. Double down on that.
Exactly.
Well, no, this has been super insightful. I really appreciate you breaking all of this down.
Of course, it's been a pleasure.
So, yeah, for everyone listening out there, I think it's clear that speech analytics is not just some futuristic thing.
Right.
It's here now, and it's really a crucial tool for any sales leader who wants to stay ahead of the game.
Absolutely. I think it's essential in today's competitive landscape.
So on that note, we'll leave you with this. How could a systematic analysis of your sales team's conversations uncover those hidden opportunities for growth? Not just to increase revenue,
Yeah.
but also to build those deeper relationships with your customers. Think about the potential that's just waiting to be unlocked in those everyday interactions that you're already having.
That's a great point.
Thanks for taking the deep dive with us.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll see you next time.